It's, what do you expect?
Mm.
Because it's the weekend, and I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm from Santana Block Crip, so it's gonna do what it do.
Well, I hope your adoptive son is okay.
Say what?
Hello, friends. Welcome to Look and Live. You are here with Pastor James Devalon. Now, this video has been surfacing the web. I should say, a mother who adopted a son, and knowing that her son had died, the way she responds to that has sent shockwaves to the world. People are asking, how could a mother respond this way? And we are going to listen to this. Okay, just watch how she behaves, and I'm going to share some perspective on what I think is happening here. And as always, we got some biblical perspective as well. Let's take a listen.
Now, I want to bring in Monique Howard. You said your adoptive son was shot. Can you come this way?
Yes, sir.
What did you know? What have officials told you?
Well, officials called and said for me to come and check on my biological son. That's the whole reason I came down here. But literally, it just was a massacre.
Mm.
So
And your son,
was not affected, but my adopted son died.
oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that.
I don't know for sure, but that's what I've been told.
You haven't been able to get a hold of him?
No, I'm on my way now to go to the hospital and find out
So he's just not picking up calls? You haven't tried?
No. We have a big family from Compton. I'm from Compton. So this is a Compton massacre.
Just to hear that a gunfight would break out at a picnic, this was at a car show, there were families, there were
It
children.
wasn't a car show, sir.
Mm.
It was a baseball game. That's it. At Peck Park.
Mm.
That's it.
Just to hear something like that would happen on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, when you dealing with different hoods, what do you expect?
Mm.
Because it's the weekend, and I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm from Santana Block Crip, so it's gonna do what it do.
Well, I hope your adoptive son is okay. That you're able to get a hold
but I
of him.
heard that he passed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can certainly understand why some people will feel the way they feel about this video is because it seems that in her behavior, she seems to be very, should I say, callous or desensitized about the adopted son. Maybe. It doesn't really tell you the whole story, but I can tell you this: Compton, mass shootings, gang-related violence, uh, the influence of the environment. There's a lot of factors to consider here, and I think to take this video and the gang sign that she threw, which is a Crip sign, having lived in New York, having lived in Brooklyn myself, I'm familiar with some of this. But for those of you who know anything about Compton, it's just loaded with gangs and violence and everything. Even the ladies are involved in gang related violence as well. So some people say, being the grandmother that she is, she should not be talking this way and so on. I can certainly understand, but there are several factors we need to consider here. Like, what was the relationship with the adopted son was like. That's one thing, and the second thing is, what were some of the troubles that were happening in the home? What was the condition of the home that maybe she's a part of, maybe she's the head of, or that adopted son was a part of. Now, the other question is, what does she know? Does she know that the adopted son was involved in gang related activities? So she appears to have this knowledge as well. That doesn't mean she's doesn't care, because we're looking at a video like that, we say, oh, she doesn't care, she's a gangster and everything. Possibly she having thrown that sign, I'm getting the picture that she must be a Crip of some sort. But despite the fact that there's a lot of factors we need to consider here, once you live in an environment such as maybe what she's a part of here, live in an environment where you hear this violence nonstop, it eventually does something to you. It can either make you really callous and careless, or the other aspect that could happen, you can begin to get used to it and think this is absolutely normal, and you end up in this warfare mentality at all times, even when close members of your family uh, passes away. It has very little impact on your emotion, and it doesn't really um, it doesn't really make a difference to you, because you've heard it so many times, even when a close member of your family is a victim. So there are many factors that we just don't know. And part of my concern as well is for these children that are standing there listening to this. Imagine the mentality that they have. Imagine what they've experienced. So what I'm trying to say is, this is a woman who is a menace to her um, environment. She this is all she knows. This is all she's seen and experienced in her life. There's a lot of other factors that plays in role. People such as this is not someone you go around condemning. This is someone you pray for, and you pray for people in Compton, in that city, because God is able to save anybody who can set them free. And again, you have to also keep in mind there is great influence there is great power in influence. The environment that you are from and live has a very powerful influence in your mind and in your life and the decisions that you make. So I'm pretty sure she's a victim of that, the mentality of and the lifestyle and the violent crime related stuff that's going on in Compton. And even though children as well. So you can see in the picture, it's just that you can see there is a deadness in their eyes. You can see there is more like a shock. Nothing new to them. This is very normal for them. Having lived in Brooklyn, New York, I know what that's like. I had to move out. I literally made up my mind and say, all right, I'm out. This is pure nonsense. And I realized that lifestyle, as long as you remain in these environments, you might never be able to make it out of there normal, or at least thinking properly and making right decisions, because the influence of drugs and hip hop and gang related stuff is so much in your face that you kind of have to make a decision in one of these days. For me, I packed up and left and moved from Brooklyn, New York to Pennsylvania. I was like, I'm not having any of it. My friends were getting caught up in Crip, and they were doing all this crazy nonsense. They were starting to smoke weed. I saw how they were seeping into that dark place. And I'm like, I began to realize I don't want that lifestyle for me. I'm trying to go to college. I'm trying to get my life together. Yeah, at the age of 17, actually, I packed up my bags and moved over to my aunt in Pennsylvania, because I say I'm not having any more of this. I want nothing to do with this gang related stuff. But if I had stayed in New York, I'm pretty sure I would have been probably behind bars right now, or who would have known. Only God knows the decisions I probably would have made having stayed in that environment. Because I know I eventually I had my ears pierced. I was working on getting some tattoos, not just for design purpose, but for gang related mental stuff. So I'm like, so these thoughts were already in my mind. So once I moved away from the environment, I took off my earrings, the tattoo ideology was gone, and I found my way in church, eventually got into ministry. So I had to move out. So people like that, they have to escape the environment that they are part of. People like that have to be treated with a lot of respect and love and understanding. You need to understand what's going on in their world. People like that with this mentality, including this mother who is somewhat very careless, in a way, callous and somewhat desensitized about the condition of her adopted son having lost his life through violent crimes. So what's happening in her mind is just that there's a lot happening in the heart that you and I don't understand. But I can certainly tell you, just being part of that environment has a significant role to play with it. And I don't think that's someone we need to condemn and just point out our fingers and say, hey, look at how this woman is acting and so on. But listen, man, you don't know what this is like. You have not, if you have not lived there, been there, you might as well just be quiet, because you don't understand what's going on here. And I want to share something with you quickly, guys. Egypt. The children of Israel were in Egypt for 400 and something years, for 430 years, and God delivered them out of Egypt bondage the same day, God says, with the self same day, right? And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the host of the Lord went out from Egypt. But here's the point, though. God set them free from Egypt. But do you understand and do you know how much trouble they gave to God as a result? They went through so much stuff. They did so many wrong things. They were complaining. They wanted to go back to worship. They were worshiping golden calves and everything. And here's the thing I'm trying to say here. It is one thing to get the people out of Egypt. It was one thing for God to get the people out of Egypt. It was another thing for God to get Egypt out of them. So much more than just being part of environment or having been freed from the nation, that is one aspect of the thing. The second aspect of it is getting that stuff out of you, getting that negative experience out of you and clean you and cleanse and purify your heart. That is something that only Jesus can do, but it is a progress for many of us. Having left New York is one thing, but the same attitude of New Yorkers, the same mentality. I struggled with this stuff for years, even until now it has an impact on my life. Doesn't mean I wasn't a gangster. I was, doing all that. I didn't get that far. Thank God that he intervened really, really quick when it comes to my case. But I cannot speak for everybody else. And for those of you who've been places and done this and done that, a lot of us, if we are honest with ourselves, were it not for the circumstances that we were a part of, we probably will never have done some of the stuff that we did. If we were given a better circumstance, a better home, a stronger family bond, or if we had known better, given proper counsels, or we had a better father figure setting a positive example before us, I'm sure this probably would never have been the case. And unfortunately, what's happening in many of our neighborhood, in many of our Black neighborhood, is just there is a brokenness in the home. There is this dysfunctional home. There is the menace to society, the environment, the influence of gang, and many other factors that plays a role in that. And there is poverty as well. And some of them, that's all they know. They have not really lived life. To them, this is it. So it's when you branch out and you see what's happening in the world, people are making things happen in the world, and you get to see the world as it really is. Then he helps you to properly digest these different factors you were once thought. You were like, okay, once I thought was my life I needed to be a gangster and think this way and talk that way. That's what I was taught. That's what I was told. But there's so much more to the world. And once you get to know Jesus as well, he helps you to recover your identity. He helps you to know who you are, and he helps you to understand how much God loves you. That also restores your soul and all the broken parts in your behavior and character. God restores all of that. So I will say, be prayerful, be gentle, and be understanding of anybody who is going through a situation like that. Is take a moment to step into their shoes and get to understand what is really going on, rather than to look at a few clip videos and start talking and gossiping and pointing out fingers. It's just not right to do, because there's so much more happening than you and I actually know and understand. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening. My name is James Devallon. Once again, remember to look unto Jesus, live by faith. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more of our notification upload. There it is. There we go. Like and subscribe to this page. And if you happen to have any prayer requests, any recommendation you want to put below, here is the email where you can send that. And also hit me on Discord. The link will be in the description below. God bless you. Until next time, remember to look unto Jesus and to live by faith. Have a good one. Bye.